Hey y'all, it's your girl Chef Kyra and welcome back to another episode of New York Eats. Welcome to my food channel where we talk about everything nice, sugar and spice, baby. So for today's episode, we are going to be making another dish that is near and dear to my heart, and that is going to be Jamaican beef patties, y'all. So we're gonna do it all. We're gonna make the dough from scratch because you know how we do on my channel. And it's just gonna be so good. So let's just get started and let's go. I know it looks like it's a lot of stuff here, and it is. I mean, just with Caribbean cooking, there's a lot of seasonings and spices and things that go into it, but trust me, each and every one of these ingredients are very, very important. So yeah, I mean, we got some of our fresh vegetables over here, and then our dry seasonings, flour, sugar, butter, all that good stuff. So I'm definitely gonna leave a list over here to the side so that you guys have an idea of exactly what I'm gonna be using for today. And let's just get started. All right, y'all, so the first thing that we want to definitely start off with is our dough. So I'm going to use the 3-to-1 ratio method. So it's going to be 3 parts flour, 2 parts fat, and then 1 part water. But we're going to cut that in half. So in my bowl right here, I have a 1.5 cups of flour. In this bowl, I have 2 sticks of salted butter, and that's going to be what we're going to use today. I don't want to make too much of a big batch, just because I'm really not going to need it. We also have some ground turmeric and some Jamaican curry, and we have a touch of sugar and some salt. So the first thing that we're going to do is season our flour. So even though the butter is salted, I still want to add just a touch of salt. So a good healthy pinch of salt I'm going to add to the flour. Okay, now we're just going to add a good amount of Jamaican curry, because you definitely want that curry flavor in the dough. And then we're gonna add our ground turmeric, which isn't open, so let me open it. And y'all, it's definitely gonna be a challenge for your homegirl trying to cook and whatnot with these nails and stuff. But the ground turmeric smells so good. I mean, all of it does. So I'm gonna add some ground turmeric. And now that we have those seasonings in there, I'm just gonna add a half teaspoon of sugar. And we're just gonna mix that together. Now I'm just gonna add a touch more of the ground turmeric, because I feel like, you know, I really want that pretty color that Jamaican beef patties usually have. So let me not be shy and toss a little bit more in there. A good amount. And why not a touch more of some curry? Just a little bit. And I'm just gonna mix this in. So now that we have that all mixed up, this is what your flour is gonna look like once all of the seasonings are mixed in. And just make sure you whisk it a couple more times just to make sure everything is, mixed very well. And then we're gonna add in our butter. Might as well add the whole thing in. Now you could either use a fork or either a potato masher to work the fat into the flour. Once that's done, we're gonna also add some water to combine the dough, and after that's done, then we're gonna set this in the fridge and let it rest while we make our filling for the beef patty. So this is what your dough should look like after you have worked the butter into the flour. all of the pieces of butter don't have to be super duper small, but you want to definitely work the butter into the flour until it feels like wet sand. So for this part, being that I'm going to be touching it with my hands, and knowing that curry and turmeric can stain your hands, I'm just going to wear some gloves. And also just because I have nails on and things can get kind of like weird and gross. So we have that, and then I have just some cold water here. I'm just gonna, usually when you make dough and stuff like that, when it comes to this style of dough, I just eyeball it when it comes to the water, and I, you know, work the dough a bit, and then I just let it, you know, kind of come together, and then I see if it needs more water or not. So as you can see, it's starting to come together, but there is still a lot of like loose pieces of flour. So I'm gonna add just a touch more water. So it's better to add less than to add more and then have to, you know, fix everything, add more flour. Now your dough is off, and that won't be good. So I'm just gonna continue to keep working this dough. And I just want to tip it up just so that you guys can kind of see, you know, what's going on. Great. So it looks like that last little bit of water was the perfect amount. I'm just going to continue to keep kneading the dough until it's nice and smooth. Working in all of that butter, the seasoning, just the whole shebang, y'all. See, my gloves are from blue to like greenish because of the blue and the yellow being mixed. And here we have it, y'all. This is the dough, and you should see those little pockets and deposits of butter. That's a good sign, because when it bakes off, it's gonna be just delicious. And this dough, it smells so good, y'all. And this is just that beautiful color that Jamaican beef patties usually have. So it's just like the perfect amount of turmeric and curry. So I'm just gonna sit this back in the bowl, put a cover over it, and let it sit in the fridge and tighten up. Let those little granules of butter or pockets of butter kind of like harden up again, so that when we do roll out the dough, it's nice and perfect. There's not butter all over your counter, because your body heat and mixing the dough, and you know, we're getting closer to the summertime, so things can get kind of sticky. But that is it, y'all. That's what you want your dough to look like. It's so beautiful. It smells so good. I wish you guys could be here to smell it. And now we're just going to move on to making the filling. So now we are going to be making the filling for the beef patty. So before we start cooking off the beef, I have all of my delicious herbs and things like that here. So I have a white onion, I have scallions, carrot, scotch bonnet pepper. If you're not able to find a scotch bonnet pepper, you can always use a habanero pepper. They're cute little like orange peppers. We have some fresh garlic, ginger, thyme. Now I have whole allspice in the house. I didn't have any ground allspice, which is cool because it's gonna be way fresher than having ground allspice because you're grinding it fresh. So I'm just gonna add this into the mix so that it's nice and fine. And then I have a cup of cooking oil just to blend all of these things up. So we're just gonna get this blended up in a blender, and then we're gonna transfer over to start cooking the beef and cooking this mixture off. So we're gonna start off with the cup of oil. Next we're gonna add in our allspice. So I'm gonna do like a good handful, like a nice, I'd say these is about like 10 little capsules of allspice. So I want to put that in first because I don't want to have them be the last thing that's blending up. And then we're just gonna take some of our thyme. You want to take the thyme off the stems backwards. So what you do is you pinch up at the top and then you're gonna take your hands and run down, and all of the little leaves will fall off. Next up we have our ginger, garlic, scotch bonnet pepper, carrots, white onion, and scallions. We have all this deliciousness in the blender. We're gonna blend this up. Usually for something like this, I like to make sure I pulse it first, just to kind of break things up a little bit more, and then let it like fully blend. Okay, now that we've pulsed it a little bit, I'm gonna mix things around. And now we're just gonna fully blend. We are going to put it in a nice pan, and we're going to cook this off a little bit, bring out those aromas. It's gonna be so good, y'all. So let's get cooking this part. I have a nice big pan ready to go. I did put a little bit of oil in here just so that when we do put in our mix to start warming up and cooking off, it doesn't just necessarily stick even though there's oil in the mix. So now here is our mix. And we are just gonna let this cook down, let those aromas get going. Add a little touch of water just to loosen up the mix a bit. Okay, so now that we have our mix cooked down a bit and all those spices and herbs and things like that are nice and warmed up, our ground beef to the mix. And we're just gonna break this up and let the ground beef cook in this sauce. Now I know it looks kind of foreign and it's like, but when you cook the meat first and then put the sauce in, no, not necessarily. So now that we have our ground beef broken up, we're gonna add just a touch of soy sauce, not too much, and this is low sodium soy sauce as well. Add some salt. A touch of black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a bit of smoked paprika. Mix this up even more. And you really want to work that ground beef into the sauce. Just chop it up like how you would do with spaghetti. The next thing that we're gonna add is some ketchup, and I'm just gonna squirt it on in. I'd say that's about like 1/4 cup of ketchup. And then the next thing that we're gonna add is some browning. So this is typically what we use in the kitchen as far as like when it comes to Caribbean cooking, and it just gives it that authentic Jamaican flavor, and it also just gives the beef patties that dark color to the meat. So we're just gonna mix this around and mix this all in until it's to the consistency and color that we want. After this cooks down as well, you can also just add a little bit more salt or onion powder to your liking. So that's mixed pretty well for me. I'm gonna just set this off and let this continue to keep cooking. So our beef is done. It's over off to the side cooling. I have dusted the counter with some flour, and we are going to take out our dough, and I'm just going to knead it a little bit more just to get it, you know, nice and malleable. And like I said, for this part, I definitely would recommend wearing some gloves because the curry and turmeric will get all over the place. So I'm just gonna dust my dough, and then after that, I'm just gonna pick off a good amount of dough and set the rest off to the side. And I'm just gonna work this little piece of dough that I have in my hand. So it's about that much, and just so that it's nice and smooth and round and ready to be rolled out. So now that we have our big piece of dough set off to the side, and we have our little piece of dough here, we're just gonna dust our little dough with flour. And then we are going to take our rolling pin, dust this with flour as well, all around. And we're just gonna lightly press and push. Dough is nice and round. You wanna make sure that you continue to coat under the bottom of the dough so that it doesn't stick on your counter, and that you're able to roll it out nice and easy. Now it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but definitely rolling it into that ball and then rolling it out definitely helps you to get a good shape. And you want it to be nice and thin, but have like a little thickness to it. Okay, so now that we have our dough nice and spread out, I'm just gonna grab a spoon full of our mixture. So you're gonna put some beef right up in here. And for me, I always love cheese in my beef patties, so I just have some Kraft mozzarella cheese, and I'm gonna take a nice helping of cheese. And also, like, too, just because, like, you know, Caribbean food can be very spicy. Now that we have this all situated and ready to go, I have some egg wash that I made real quick, and we're just gonna brush the ends of the beef patty and where we're gonna seal. And this is just gonna help your beef patty to stay nice and sealed. And you just want to line everything up with a clean fork. You're just gonna dip it in some flour, and you're gonna crimp the edges of the beef patty. and this is just to help it seal even more. And that is it, y'all. That is our first beef patty. So I'm just gonna take this, set it all to the side, and so what you're gonna do is for the rest of the mix and dough that you have, you're gonna repeat the same process, and then we're gonna bake it off for about 10 minutes in a oven that is set to 350 degrees. And that's pretty much it, y'all. That is how you make a Jamaican beef patty. So I'm gonna go do this off camera, and then we'll show you the finished product, y'all. Alright, y'all, so this is how my first little beef patty came out. This is the prettiest one out of all of them, so I feel like it looks pretty good. I mean, of course, like, there's all that buttery goodness. It just came out the oven, so yeah, but it's my little beef patty. So I'm gonna break it open just to show you guys the inside, and we're gonna do a taste test. Y'all, look at that. Oh, it looks so good. I mean, just look, oh, look at that. Look at that. She's a beauty. Let me taste the crust. The crust is like melting in your mouth good. Now let's try the patty itself. It's so good, y'all. It's spicy. Tastes just like a Jamaican beef patty, y'all. Look, it's just, let's just get a look at that again. Good, and it's like the right amount of heat, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I'm about to go enjoy my beef patties, and yo, I mean, like, no complaints here. So once again, thanks for tuning in to New York Eats. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one for us to make some good stuff. All right, peace out.